There we go.
All right, so I call the meeting to order, and people have an opportunity to look at the minutes. They were posted by our secretary, and we were informed of the posting as well. Any chance? Any questions or comments on the minutes?
No comments.
No.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes.
Second? A second?
Aye.
All in favor?
All right.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, fine, good. Likewise, we received the Treasury's report. Any comments on the Treasury's report, Treasurer?
Well, I just saw a typo, and we've got a free gift certificate for anybody who saw and can identify the typo.
Where did that $50,000 come from?
There you go, Joyce. Yeah, there's an extra 8 in there. It's like 58899, and it should be 5,008.
Yeah, current balance.
That
Yeah.
wasn't
I
in my
love it.
account? That didn't get accrued to my account?
Yeah,
I know that's right.
No, it was.
No, it goes to the chair, sorry.
Yeah, so
For duties
slight typo.
rendered.
Sorry about that.
Okay,
But
that's fine. So
but
we
in
will
terms
get
of the
that
report
corrected.
itself, we're getting near the end of the year. We had one new membership, I think, and one donation, very generous donation, in honor of the birthday of one of our board members. And we had our normal expenses. And so, we're kind of ending the year with about 77 people who have joined over the course of this year. And one of the commitments I made that I'll probably be working on over the next couple of weeks is splitting out this report so we have a clear sight picture of how many of these funds belong to FPCA, how many belong to Greater Hearts and Hands, Growing Hearts and Hands, Garden Club, and there's still funds on the books for donations we received for Kim Barrett Memorial. Okay.
Yeah,
And which I presume that's going to be dissolved pretty soon,
right,
paid out pretty soon. So.
okay. Okay, any other questions for the treasurer?
So as always, if anybody would like to help me untangle the spaghetti on this one, I'm open to any recommendations. You can raise your hand, send me a chat, however you want to do it.
And seeing none,
All right.
we will move on and accept the treasurer's report for audit.
All right.
Okay. Our committees. I'm moving back and forth between all these. Yes, activities. Kirsten Kirsten?
Yes, so I am going to be posting about the winter walks that Walk with Doc and a bunch of the other neighborhoods do. We're going to see, it depends on how much interest we get if people want to try to put a carpool together, since they are up at it is at High Banks Metro Park for January. But we did decide to keep our walking club somewhat continuing to go on, but we're joining other groups. So I'll have that information out. I'll get it to Brian to be able to include in our follow-up notes. So outside of that right now, much of our activity planning is around the 50th.
Okay. Any questions just on the non-50th discussion?
So we had been pursuing this idea of having a Walk with the Doc chapter in our neighborhood. And there was a meeting since our last group meeting with the folks from Ohio State Hospital, as they prefer to be known. And they said that they would rather not form a Walk with the Doc chapter because it's actually, which I didn't know on the very front end, is a contractual relationship, which in part requires that they provide doctors. But in our benefit, they said, hey, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of different healthcare professional specialties, and less than half of them are doctors. We have therapists, x-ray techs, et cetera, et cetera. And what we want to do is find a way to connect them over time. They're not going to all take off one day, but over time, get our neighborhood and other neighborhoods exposed to and connected with those professionals so that they can have learning experiences, however that happens.
Right.
The second
And I
part
think
of
it's
that,
good to just expose the community to the diversity of professional options that are available,
career opportunities, exactly.
career opportunities, right?
Yeah, and I always tell people, when I used to work in a bank, the only thing I knew was a teller. I had no idea, what the people in the basement did, and the second floor and the sixth floor and all that kind of stuff. And so, as with any kind of large complex organization, there's a lot of career opportunities. And unless they get presented to you, you don't know that there's a chance, and there are career paths that can be pursued. And so the hub for that kind of interchange is going to be the Healthy Community Center, which now I understand is going to open February. February, March, but as soon as it can. And so that they will be working with our group on our walk this next calendar year. But what they also want to do is kind of expand the the relationship beyond just the walks, and for their folks to participate in like our Mingle and monthly meetings, et cetera, and do the same with other community groups in the nearest area.
Right. Well, then we could also look at maybe having them come on to our February meeting and discuss, all those, what those difference, how they want to structure it. Let me put it that way.
Sure.
Let's look at, maybe February or March, have them when the weather starts getting good. Okay.
And so,
Yes.
I'm sorry, that's activities. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay. Any questions for Will on the Walk with the Doc discussion?
No.
Okay. All right. PR and marketing. Brian?
All I have to say is tell your neighbors to submit their homes for the Deck the House.
That's it. Do we have any now?
No, we don't.
0.
We have 0.
And we had 3 last year?
No, we had 4.
5.
We actually had 4.
4.
Uh-huh.
Well, let's see if we can do better than last year.
So the way that Brian has been letting people know is by putting the flyer that was created on our social media.
Yeah.
And I would also direct you to the homepage of our website. There's a nice little display at the top that has the contest rules.
Okay.
And
but I'm gonna I just might want to go around the neighborhood and the ones that are lit up, just drop the flyer off.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So Brian requested that we have postcards made, and so we have some postcards. And so anybody who wants to help drop them, not drop them, but put them in the screen door, what have you,
Right.
other people who are likely candidates, people who seem to have the spirit, let me know, because I've got about 100 cards. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll take Frank out for a walk. We'll
Okay,
grab
there you
him.
go. There you go. Great.
Those who have to be out after dark.
I know. I felt so bad this morning for the people, when I got out at 7, I said, oh man, the dogs were yipping.
Any
They weren't
questions or
barking.
comments for PR?
So again, I encourage people to look at our link tree, and there's a link to it on the top right-hand corner of our webpage. Brian usually publishes it, but that's kind of like a little newspaper also. We have a variety of things in there. And on the link tree, we not only have a piece about the contest, but we also have a link to the summary of the neighborhood crime study survey that we did last month, and to some other very interesting things. So again, encourage people in the spirit of public relations and marketing to look at that Linktree site and share the links with other people.
Thank you. Questions for Will? Okay, thank you.
Somebody, let me guess.
Fred,
Logan?
it's Fred.
What about
Could you
think it's
mute
Fred.
yourself, please?
Yeah.
me? All right.
Okay, we still don't have a membership, but we're making efforts for membership. We really do need a membership chair, so please, let's give some more thought to that. Health and safety, Pastor Greenfield's not here. I don't
So
see
I
the
talked to
rep-
Pastor Greenfield, and he agreed and that he would have a representative from his church chair that committee. And we're kind of easing into that because we got several things going on here that we'll talk about later today. But that is going to be Pastor Sylvia McLeod Smith. She's been to a few of the meetings. She may be on later today. She was on a meeting with us last night for a committee. So she is the outreach minister for Love Zion, and she is going to be taking that activity over for the pastor. You know, pastor still, he can probably make the exec meetings, but in terms of committee work, she's going to do that.
Well, we should she's it, formal, you know?
Yeah, there you
She's
go.
doing the work, yeah. Okay, but that's internal. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jay is around.
Yep.
So a couple of new developments went in, or we got applications for. There was one on Kendall Place for some infill housing, and then another for a variance for a property on Fairwood that wants to just extend their living space. The way those have been working is that I've been reaching out to the FP Civic email for responses, just getting opinions before we issue a ruling. If anybody wants to get more involved with looking over the plans or submitting judgments on that stuff, feel free just to reach out. The biggest news is probably the Trolley Barn apartments. Those were approved through council, irrespective of the fact that the neighborhood groups, NEAC, the Civic Association, etc., had all unanimously asked the developer to go back and make changes. Unfortunately, those were not heeded. So I'm working with Kate D'Souza to follow up a little bit on how do we handle this if they're not going to take our recommendations to heart. The only other two things that I've got is that we are working with NEAC and the East Market vendors. We're going to be holding quarterly meetings at CBC next year. We're still working on nailing down dates for that, but it will be an opportunity for the vendors to interact with the community groups. We can provide them with support. They can provide us with information, etc. And then after the first of the year, Noah and I will be hitting the businesses outside of the East Market hard in terms of getting them into the fold within the group. So our goal for next year is to have more business interaction and participation at meetings and events as we're able.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Jay?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Hi, Jay.
What's up, Will?
I heard you know how to make cookies.
I don't think that's related to development.
Well, that's
Well,
the first thing on my
I
mind.
Unless you're opening a bakery.
Yeah, actually, that's what we were gonna tell you guys at the end of the call. We're opening a bakery. I think we have time to do that on top of everything
In
else.
the Ardella space, right?
Right, right.
No, seriously though. So I received a copy of some development principles.
Mhm.
Do you or Eric want to say a couple words about that?
I'll let Eric take that one if he wants.
Yes, just a quick summary then. We, with the new zoning code coming up and maybe issues like Jay just mentioned with city council, we thought it best to take away some of the subjectivity with regard to zoning on NEAC and provide a set of zoning principles. We've got the first draft out there. There's been some really good feedback. We're treating it as 2 readings. First reading was in our Thursday general body meeting.
Right.
I think most of the feedback was prior to that through email. We got 3 to 4, maybe 5 really good pieces of feedback. Mostly, positive about the principles and asking us to add some things into them.
Eric, I'm going to give you my feedback next week, and I'm going to put it in our kind of public folder where we have our minutes and that kind of thing. So if anybody wants to go to it, I think it's also on the NEAC website, right?
It's on NEAC Facebook. You just indicated a great upgrade. I should put it on the website. But
Okay.
any feedback can be provided directly to commissioners or sent to the NEAC email with subject line NEAC zoning principles.
Okay.
I will
It's a
add
great
to that
idea.
real quick. As you guys are giving feedback, please keep in mind that these are meant to be like guidelines, not necessarily hard and fast rules. And also that we are trying to get to a point that the developers are aligned with us in terms of what we are hoping to achieve with development and not so much focused on aesthetic issues. So materials, colors, that kind of thing. We're trying not to tread into those waters.
And it's really being seeing development from the comprehensive perspective of a community.
Mm-hmm.
That's the discussion, and taking all the different elements into account. Okay, thank you. That's a good major step. Any comments for Jay or Eric on that, or anything else with respect to development? Anything new regarding development? Yeah, it was a drag. The city council approved it, but we kind of knew because that's how they got the money in the first place. Despite, and I still want to go back and look at that initial agreement. But
well, and there's still some back pocket things I think we can look at. That space for the Columbus School in the trolley barn still empty. There are a couple of ADA issues I've noticed up at the market that I'm sure they don't want being brought up in a lawsuit in the future. So there are some other things that they have not adhered to on their end that I think we can hold their feet to the fire on a little bit.
Let's talk about that. Okay, thank you. Any other comments for Jay or Eric? Okay, moving to old business. Very quickly, the community meeting for the Hayes-Henderson House did take place December 6th at East High School. There are approximately 75 to 80. There'll be a final count later. This is my looking out over the audience at one point in time. Attendees, and they seem to represent all the different civic associations. So there were people there from the Poindexter Block Watch, the Bronzeville, Otena, certainly FPCA, and Woodland Park, and Eastgate, and people from Eastgate as well. So that we thought that was a very good representation, you know. And in terms of the presentations, the overall, the presentations were made, and then there was a opportunity for people to provide feedbacks electronically. Then there was, and that was just on the general values or objectives for the project. And then there was discussion about specific models, and the audience was again asked to give feedback primarily electronically, but there was a paper ballot, if you will, that people could use as well. And so that information is now being collated. And then after the formal presentations, the audience was asked to go to 3 different areas of the building, 2 different rooms in the back of the auditorium, to have further individual or small group discussion on what they would like regarding a particular objective. And then there was a person assigned to each group to capture the qualitative comments made there as well. And so I think overall the responses that we got were that people were pleased that there had been, you know, focused attention over the past year, that there were some possible models to be seriously considered, and that OSU would work faithfully or hand in hand with the community in terms of getting it forward. There was some dissension, as always, you know, in any community process. And there were some people who felt that the OSU is responsible for the Hayes-Henderson House, CMHA is responsible for the neighborhood house. They should switch properties and tear down Henderson and keep neighborhood house. We weren't quite clear on how that was supposed to work, but that was an issue. And as always, there are concerns about funding. Regardless of what is identified, how will it be maintained in the future? And that is definitely an ongoing discussion. With respect to the Healthy Community Center, I was fortunate in being part of a hard hat tour yesterday, and they are on track with the construction, and they do expect it to be finished by the end of January, and then open mid to late February. They are currently taking suggestions for the cafe space. So if there is a restaurateur who, you know, would like a brick and mortar small space, applications are being taken for that. And applications are also being taken for what we call the 4th space, which is now structured as a health center. So it's got, you know, rubberized floor, a soundproofing on the walls. It'll have some machinery. So again, looking for individuals or a business that would like to run physical health activities in that kind of space on a regular basis. You know, yoga, you know, the exercising. I see now that there is yoga for old folks and yoga for healthier individuals. Well, I guess it's not healthier because they always say obesity is not healthy, but it's really interesting the different types of yoga that, you know, when I was growing up earlier, it was like hatha yoga, that was it. Now there are a dozen different types. So, but overall, the Healthy Community Center is looking for vendors, providers, particularly from the neighborhood, who may like to make use of the space. Okay, so that's it for the Hayes-Henderson House and the Healthy Community Center. Any questions or comments?
I have a quick question. This is Miriam. Do you want us to make recommendations or suggestions from people from the community, or or do they have a pretty good idea of who they want to reach out to for the various?
No, in fact, I recommended Chef Shanice.
Oh, she's amazing.
I was amazed. And I recommended her right off. I said, no, this woman right here, we got to figure out a way to pull her in. So no, they are looking for as many suggestions as possible, because we are really developing a list of resources. So when you walk in from the parking lot side, the main parking lot side, on your right in the entrance is the commercial kitchen, and there is a gas cooktop workspace, and then there is a space for people to sit. There'll be 2 television screens for people to see what the cook is doing, etc. Well, Shanice may say she's not ready to do the cafe, but she would be willing to do some demonstration cooking session once a month for 6 months, and they would sign her up for that. So there are all kinds of options, and it's just like, send the information is Javante McDonald. Let's get it all in, and then we're going to sit down and then call people and just figure out what's the best fit. Okay, others. Eric, you were at the Hayes-Henderson house discussion. Is there anything that you would like to add from your observations?
You did it justice. You did it well. It is exactly as you said. I thought the options were clear. I was a little concerned that the options for the Hayes-Henderson house did not include a museum. They made that very clear that it did include, while it may have other functions, that history of the Henderson house would be included in that area. So that was clarified. It was great. I sat in the session about the function of the house. And I think all the feedback was great there. As you can imagine, much concern about the Hayes portion, but wanting to highlight the Henderson portion of the history. And I think just additive to what they had already planned for it, or what you all had already planned for it, actually.
Yeah, it's clear that it would be very difficult to sustain it as a museum without a major angel.
Mhm.
I mean, we have to have somebody step forward right now and say, here's 10 million, without a doubt, because museums, they really don't pay for themselves.
Right. And sorry if I created any confusion there. I think that was answered very well, and addressed and explained why there would be another function, but the history of the house would be highlighted.
Right. The other thing I want to share is that, the folks, the crazies come out the woodwork. That's what we used to say. The crazies, if you do something right, the crazies are going to come out the woodwork. That's guaranteed. And so there were some crazies at the meeting. We handled them. But there were a crazy surfaced yesterday on Facebook. And he said that he wanted to create a bed and breakfast with the house, and that he would be true to the history and the function, and that he wanted people to contribute to a GoFundMe. And I immediately blasted it because, one, we have not made a decision as to which model will be accepted. So it's premature to ask for to say that it's going to be a bread and breakfast. That decision has not been made, okay? And then 2, he is certainly free to establish a GoFundMe for anything, but he really cannot establish a GoFundMe and connect to the Hayes-Henderson house, which is not his property, is not connected to anything that he owns. So, and a couple of people responded that they thought it was strange and they thought it was a fraud, but if you want to give up your money and give it to this fellow who nobody knows, and you know, we circulated among the committee and everybody's like, nope, I don't know him. Nope, I don't know him. You know, but so just be careful with all these activities. If it's not connected to one of the civic associations or the NEAC or the OSU Wexner, it's pause for cause. Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right. Anything else on 2024, our dates? This Brian, you want to report? Is he still with us?
Yeah. So I propose we move the November meeting to the 3rd Tuesday. And then what do we want to do about August? Do you want to do what we did this year and like do National Night Out instead of having a regular August meeting?
Yeah. I like that.
We can kind of try and have National Night Out, I'm sorry, have August meeting at the National Night Out. You know
That's
how
what
we
he's
had
saying.
had the board there where we got community input on local priorities and whatnot. We could have an activity like that that basically constitutes a meeting.
Okay, let's back up. August 1st is on a Thursday in 2024.
So National Night Out would be the 6th.
Sorry, right. Okay, the Tuesday the 6th, right. All right, now, so Will, your proposal is what now?
That that we try and collect some community input, not necessarily call it a meeting, but have some interaction for people attending relative to things that are on our mind at that time during the event. And we did a little bit of that last year with the easels, and we had the post-it notes, and I think
The community gardens.
that was one poster, but there was another one over near the street that had near East area priorities. I think
Yes, that's correct.
Right. You know, those kind of things where we are trying to move on issues and concerns that will no doubt come up that time of year.
Okay. All right, so August would be September 6th with enhanced FPCA activities. And then November is November 23rd would be the 19th. Is that what you're proposing, Brian?
Yes, because Thanksgiving's a week later next year.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comments? All right. Then the 50th anniversary.
Okay. I want to ask two people to help out here, Kirsten and Mitch. And we had a team meeting yesterday. And let me hold on. And this is my recollection of what we talked about, is that in celebration of FPCA's 50th anniversary, we would have a kind of history event on the first Sunday in March. And that would essentially involve an exhibit on how the Franklin Park neighborhood and the Civic Association were established and evolved. This will be in the Viridian Room, which is on the west wing, if you will, of the Franklin Park Conservatory during their community day, so that people who came to this event would also be able to enjoy all the different things that are going on in the conservatory, which also includes the orchid display and the butterfly exhibit. Okay. We haven't nailed down all the details because a lot of people are in vacation mode. But
Okay,
we
I'm
will-
sorry, Will,
Yes,
could you enlarge this, please? for
I'm
those
so
of
sorry.
us-
Yeah. Tell me.
There we
how's
go.
that?
That's better. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you. We will be nailing down the details with the conservatory staff early in January in terms of the exact hours. Community Day typically runs from 10 to 5, and we had proposed being there roughly from 1 to 5, but you know, we've got to have some time to set up and tear down. And in the space that we'll be having, we have several elements that we'll be doing. So this is where I asked Kirsten or Mitch to jump in and help summarize the activities that we talked about having. With your microphones on. Hello?
Kirsten, you want to go first? I don't
Sure.
know what you. Sure.
Yeah. So, one of the things that we're going to start working on, well, we're working on all of this, but one of the big things that myself and a few others are working on is going to the library and digging through a bunch of the pictures that the library houses. There's a ton from realtors in the neighborhood, as well as obviously just pictures that the library holds across the neighborhood. So what we really do is a then and now exhibit to really start showing what our neighborhood looked like at different points in the past and what it looks like nowadays. So show you maybe what was at where the current Kroger is now. What did that look like 50 years ago? What did that look like 100 years ago? It was very different. So that's one of the big things we want to highlight is different spaces within the neighborhood. We also, because we're just going to have a ton of pictures, we'll eventually have a slideshow of these historical pictures and pictures from the FPCA history that we will show snippets of leading up to the event. They may also be included in a slideshow at the event itself. We are still working through details of how many things we're going to have in the room at one time. Another thing that Will and I discussed, we went and did a scan day down at the library in Driving Park.
Yep.
And what they do during a scan day is they will take your family photos, anything, every picture you have that shows yourself and your family in this neighborhood, and it does not need to be anything that you think is astronomical. It's just documentation of the neighborhood. The library will help you scan it and turn it into a physical copy. And then the library actually, with your permission, holds on to those so that they have an accurate representation of the neighborhood throughout history. So when I say that all pictures are what they're looking for, I do genuinely mean it. It is not that you just have to be the stalwarts of this neighborhood. It's, did you live here in the 70s and you have pictures? Did you live here in the 2000s and had pictures? And it's you and your family in front of your house, in your house, etc. It's just documenting who has lived in our neighborhood and what our neighborhood has looked like in various facets. And then Mitch, if there's stuff you want to add to this, please feel free. Those are the two I really wanted to talk about.
Well, let me jump in before Mitch and just say that we did a couple of scan days with Poindexter to get information. And it's just amazing what people pulled out of their attics and from under their beds and brought out. So I would really, definitely support a scan day. Mitch?
Sure. So the other thing Will and I have been talking about is just putting together, kind of a timeline of the neighborhood, kind of from the first settling of the city and, kind of how this neighborhood has changed through the years. So, we've got kind of some big landmarks in there and just want to kind of take people on a bit of a kind of tour of, okay, this is how this neighborhood has changed through the years, even prior to the founding of the Franklin Park Civic Association, and then, kind of talk about the different, phases of the community and, where we are now. So I think that's kind of going to be a fairly big part of the, what we want to display in that room, along with, I think the pictures that they're going to be, pulling up, there's a kind of overhead projector in there, so we want to intersperse that We also talked about maybe interviewing some notable residents and, kind of getting some snippets of that we could share. And, I think also, one of the questions is, do we want this to just be kind of a passive experience for people to come and just be able to kind of take it in and, read what we've put down? Do we want to have some, kind of interactive elements? Do we want to have a talk? Like, do we want to try to further engage the community? So, we're still kind of wrapping our arms around it, and it's a lot of work for something that's coming up soon. But I think that's, kind of where we are at this point.
Very good. And let me add to that, in the context of the kind of then and now and timeline, we're not, we really want to highlight the nuggets in our history, okay? Kind of like panning for gold here, and talk about some really kind of eye-popping discoveries that we've made about how this neighborhood has grown and evolved, and our organization has evolved. Julia mentioned at an earlier meeting, how many people knew that the association used to own property? How many people knew that some of the major institutions in the city, like Children's Hospital, started out in our neighborhood? So kind of bringing that to the attention of folks. And so Carol Hector Harris has been reaching out to some of those key institutions, and we're going to work out with them after the holiday how they would kind of come in and talk about their story as well. So we think that'll add an extra dimension in it. The other thing I would say is, also working with Central Community House. They have a oral history program that Jim Tickett runs. I think it's Trickett runs over there. And they do oral histories with seniors. And so we're going to get the ones that live in our neighborhood. The series they do is called Saving Our Recipes. But we want to kind of build something that will not only be available in part during this March 3rd event, but can be part of a long-lasting installation at the Metropolitan Library, so that when you look up online or go down there and you look up Franklin Park, you can not only read the stories, you can see pictures of the stories, but you can hear people talk about the good old days.
Okay,
Any
before
questions?
you move, I do want to emphasize having an interactive exhibit. Definitely support that. And I know that when we had the posters at the National Night Out, I wasn't quite sure how it would work. And it was, one of the liveliest exhibits there. I mean, people were really, trying to remember and work with each other.
Right,
And,
right.
And then about a month later, I took it to the Woodlawn Association picnic night. And I thought, okay, we'd look at significant landmarks in Woodland, but it got to the point where I literally had to ask people, okay, I had to ask people, what's your address? Then I had to say, okay, now when you walk out of your house and you look across the street, what do you see? Because it was just, there were a lot of new people who'd lived there less than 2 years or a year, but definitely less than 2 years. And so they really were not, necessarily to the community. So anything that we can do that is interactive, I would highly support, number one. And then number two, I hope we do something that is a bit more youth oriented. And we may want to think about the exhibit or the Saving Our Seniors discussion, talking to Arts Plus and the Columbus Preparatory and the Main Street, whatever, and see if we can take any of those programs through the schools or East High, take them to schools.
That is
But
exactly
also,
the format that Central Community House uses. It's an intergenerational discussion.
okay.
And so they're
But
going to be
let's
kind of
see it
run
in
that for us. And
let's see it in our programming, okay? Let's see something that, we identify, say this is going to be youth oriented in terms of our programming, so that we have something that we can pitch for that day to show the people that it is for the full family. Other comments or questions on this part of the presentation? Because I know there's more to come.
That's
Okay,
all we have for now. Jay, Kirsten, anything? I'm sorry, Mitch, Kirsten, anything else?
Nothing else from me right now.
Same.
okay, we're still working on the rest of the dates and other major activities for 24. What I would really like to see is a fairly definite calendar by the time we come back for our January meeting, so that everyone it will be clear on the dates and the major activities that we have for celebrating our 50th. Okay, any other questions, suggestions from our members? Overall, let me just say that we talked about the Back to the Future is the beginning, the middle, we have the Mingle, and at the end, from our discussion last week, we said we would look at environmental issues, concerns, coming up with programming, activities, things that when we talk about the future, let's talk about, sustainability, but again, in a fun way, in a lively way, in a community-based way that enables people to get on. Whether it's composting, I spoke to the Green Spot Advisory Board. They're willing to come on. They were part of the National Night Out. They have a Green Neighborhoods program. They're willing to come talk with. They talked to us before. Now they're willing to take it to the next level. How do we actually recruit, different households to be part of a process? So please give some thought to other activities for the middle of the year, and then we'll start having meetings for the last part with environment and climate change and all that good stuff for the future.
So
I
I
will-
talked to, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I just have a call out for, we will start Mingle planning in January. So if there's anybody that has suggestions, ideas, something they want to see different than what we've done in the past, especially because this is the 50th celebration. Please reach out to me and let me know, because we start planning that and start digging in January.
Great, thank you. Will?
I ran into Doug Kreidler a couple of times over the holiday season here, and he said they would be glad to host a big table discussion about the future of Franklin Park in the fall when that big table season comes up.
Great. Other questions, comments? Okay, any open discussion? Nothing. I see there are some folks I haven't seen. Now I'm going to really just get country. Carol Hector, I know you got something to say. You have any open discussion?
Carol's a little under the weather, so she may not.
Under the weather. Oh, that's right.
I got COVID.
Yeah, but you were calling me for food suggestions yesterday. I know if you could eat, you could talk.
That was because I was hungry and then found out that I got COVID.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry. Okay. All right, I'll leave you alone. Gary Berry II. You have any discussion for us tonight? People just laughing. I don't understand this. Okay, Lynn Stan.
I am trying my hardest to get off of mute right now. I apologize. I was for discussion. I was going to wait till that part, but I guess we're there. I sent these in this evening. I don't know if they got to the email. So we had the Department of Zoning. I'm sorry, the Department of Traffic come to NEAC with a resurfacing project that ODOT is doing for Broad Street. And what they're doing is they're going to make some changes in the thoroughfare, changing it from 7 lanes, which is 3 lanes each direction and a center turning lane, to a designated bike lane on each side, 2 lanes of traffic, and then a center turning lane. They have some renderings and things like that that I can send out if people are interested. This is meant to help with reducing the number of fatalities and crashes that are happening, especially at the high rate of speed that people are traveling up and down Broad Street. And this project is going to be taking place in between Nelson and 71. or Parsons.
71, yeah.
Yeah, see, and they just need to put the traffic lights back, you know? I mean, it's really interesting. But okay.
So we had that discussion because I said, well, there's a lot of open traffic between Nelson and Woodlawn. Like, is there going to be an introduction of some type of calming or something to at least let the kids cross the street in between those 2 points?
Yeah.
And the best that they came up with is that at Moni Penny, they planned on putting in an assisted crosswalk, which is similar to what they have at Hoffman.
Yeah.
But we had to bring up the fact that an accident just happened with a pedestrian at Hoffman in the crosswalk.
Right.
And so they took that recommendation back. Don't know what's going to happen with it. And Eric, keep me honest. But, you know, we did bring up these things because as we're adding density, we have to think about the pedestrian right away. And it seemed like they were making some adjustments, but it didn't sound like they really considered adding traffic lights pretty much at all. Eric, does that sound about right?
Perfect. I would just add that we did specifically indicate that some neighbors have asked if you're not going to do traffic lights, at least do a red signal at the crosswalks, since you know, the current caution signals are sometimes ignored, in my opinion.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
The one that Ohio Health had brought in 21st. Okay, thank you, Gary.
I have just a few more things. One, we had CMHA's neighborhood house. Their demolition or request to have their demolition approved by us is being tabled until January. They were coming to NEAC for the general body approval or their final approval. They decided to table to circulate for more community feedback before they come with this being their decision. And Mitchell Logan of our group, of Franklin Park Civic Association.
Who?
Mitchell Logan.
We know that guy.
Yeah. And so he applied to be our business at large appointment for NEAC.
Oh,
and
great.
he was voted in on Thursday at our last meeting, at our last general body meeting. So congratulations to Mr. Logan. We'll be getting him up to speed as soon as we can.
And Mitch, you weren't going to say anything?
Oh, don't worry. I was going to
wasn't.
All right, sorry, Gary. Go ahead.
No, I think those are it. The last thing I want to say is that if you guys are familiar with the Franklinton Rising project or Franklinton Rise project, where they take youth and help them renovate houses in their neighborhoods, teaching them skills, and then sometimes they're able to do a rental appointment. It's kind of like a lease to own of the house that they help renovate. That is coming to our neighborhood. They have a duplex and a triplex that they are doing south of Main on Kelton Avenue that we just had come through for final approval in this week's general body. They also have in that same area between 70 and Main Street, they have some other places that they want to do future renovation on empty lots. We like the program because they're taking places that are just completely decrepit in our neighborhood and they're using it as an opportunity to teach the youth. And so, and the developments are pretty good. So
good. That's excellent.
That's it for me. Yeah.
Very good.
Happy holidays, guys.
All right. Any questions or comments for Gary?
If I could add just one more thing for NEAC related to NEAC.
Please.
And Jay, you might be interested to the planning and zoning. We're going to combine planning and zoning this month so that to give us some time off and neighbors time off for the holidays. So that'll be this Thursday at 6:30 at the Model Neighborhoods Building. more importantly than that maybe is I wanted to mention there's a conceptual review for 1309 Fair, 1309 and 1319, sorry, Fair. It's a 6-unit development on 2 parcels there. It's in your area. I just wanted to make sure you're aware of that.
Yeah, Fair is really it's popping. That's right down the street from the $1 million house.
Right
Is
across from Mitchell.
Is that
Oh, is that across
Yeah,
from Mitchell?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
just
what Mitchell
a
is.
couple
my.
houses down the street. Yeah, there's that new home that is going up really fast, and that other house that looks like they're almost done with the renovations. So, yeah, I didn't know there was other stuff going in down the street. Interesting.
Hey, Eric, who is the developer on that one?
I might have to send you. I'm gonna have to send. I'll have to look for that before the meeting ends, or send it to you offline.
Okay, that's fine. No problem.
So, on that kind of point, in terms of who the developer is, I expressed this to Jay in a little separate piece of feedback. I just want to be mindful of the possibility that some developers may see the council's increased attention and attention to and investment in affordable housing as a green light to gobble up every available vacant lot and kind of do what Sandifer did. If anybody remembers Sandifer back in the day, you know, he had these kind of cookie cutter Section 8 housing. But I'm sure there are some developers out there that feel that the best way to provide affordable housing is to provide cheap housing. Okay. And so in addition to looking at cases that come up on a one-by-one basis, hopefully we can impress upon council the need to have conversations with developers that see themselves doing multiple. I'm talking about more than 10 units in the area to talk about how that might work. So it fits into the fabric of the neighborhood.
Just as an aside, this is not Franklin Park, but Brownsville. But some of you may be aware of a 10-unit apartment building that is behind the new construction Ogden. Or if you're at Broad Street Presbyterian Church, they have the big parking lot. Then there's some green space. Then there's a small apartment building. And it's been there for years. And, you know, now we've got the new build in front. Well, when the new building started to go up, the owner, you know, put a notice out that he was interested in selling. And then he backed down and he came back, he backed down. So, you know, people began to investigate. And the rents are literally like $300 and $350 for a 1-bedroom or studio.
Wow.
Okay. It was, and people went through, it's decent building, it's solid, you know, yes, it could be painted. Yes, the appliances are old, but it is, the roof is good. They've been good maintenance, solid, solid, solid. Okay. And the guy finally decided, he like turned overnight. He just said, okay, fine. He sold it. And December 1st, he sold it December 8th. A notice went up on each tenant had posted to their door a rent increase from $350 to $920.
Yep.
For effective February 1st. Because I said, oh no, December 8th, that's January. No, that's not a good notice. It's 30th. No, it was February 1st, but they have to tell them by January 15th whether or not they're going to stay. But, you know, from $350 to $920, it's just, and they're all on subsidies. They're all on, you know, there's no way. I mean, they now have to spend the holiday looking for a place to live.
Which is,
and the person I was working with, the owner told him, oh, you know, you were just a little too slow, but I've got a bunch of other property in the area, so let's just talk about the the next piece that I let go. You know, so it's really quite problematic when we're trying to maintain the fabric of the community, and the people who own the property are really just interested in profits. You know, and I'm sure even the $950 he's gonna flip that pretty soon, in a year or two, he's gonna do something and flip that out. Okay, any other open discussion, random questions for NEAC? Anything?
Hey, Julia Lynn, it's Bill.
Yes.
You may have said this before I got on because I got on late. I know that the Franklin Park people had met with, but we've hired a new community head for the Healthy Community Center.
Yes.
Javante, who was running the Y at Ward, is now at the Healthy Community Center and starting to meet, with neighbors and others to get programming thoughts moving. We're looking at an opening. We'd hoped early February, but probably early, March at this point, just because of some delays that had happened. But first quarter is the goal still of this year. But there's a lot moving and getting exciting there. And so opportunities and wanted to say that. Also just a 311 Department of Water, Columbus horror story or whatever.
Yeah.
The court has sprung a leak at their house next to us. When some the workers were doing things last Tuesday. Water is still coming down Franklin, Kelton, for those of you who've seen it.
Down to my house.
Yeah. And the city showed up on Friday last week and said, well, today is day one, because we officially didn't know about it till we arrived on Friday, even though they were called on Tuesday, and we have 14 days to get it fixed. And so several of us have tried to call 311. Carol was on the line for like 20 minutes trying to talk to different people, and they were thinking she was Suzanne, and she's like, she passed away 15 years ago, because somehow they had my late wife on the water bill from a long time ago, and then in all of this, but it has not resulted in anything like we're swamped, we can't get to it. So that reason you have water coming down Kelton and then spraying out is because the city it's not hit the list yet for them to get it fixed. But
yeah, I pretty much guessed that. I knew you were being serious.
Okay. They sprung a leak.
The reason why they haven't fixed the street lights on Franklin Park South also? I mean,
it will. I actually just emailed Kate about that. Driving around in the morning, it's not just Franklin Park South. I would say like a third of Franklin Park neighborhood and Old Town are all out. It looks like there's a couple of circuits that are actually out. So I'm hoping it's too many to put in 311 requests for all the lights, and frankly, it's not the residents' job to do a lighting survey for the city. So I'm trying to get with Kate to see if NEAC can make a bigger push to have them come out. And then I did see a Facebook posting today that there were some trucks out on Oak that were lights. So hopefully there is help coming, but in the meantime, do submit 311, just hammer it hard, and we'll keep working with NEAC too.
But Jay, here's my concern. I submitted, and I can put it up on the screen if you want. I submitted a 311 request from my phone, which is what I typically do. 15 minutes later, it was closed, saying the situation was resolved.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
I am really ticked off at the city hiding behind 311, and failing to provide any feedback to residents on important issues like this. They say, talk to NEAC, talk to your liaison. Hey, we want them to talk to us and let us know what the problem is and when it's going to be fixed.
Yeah, no, I completely hear you. I know I've had issues where they close them out almost immediately, and then when you reach out, they say, well, it's because we added it to like a work plan, but they don't give you any indication of when that work is going to take place. So if we don't see any improvement in the near future, I say we leverage our new connection over at the conservatory, our security connection over there, and see if he maybe can't get this moving a little bit faster, because it is a safety issue.
Right.
Yeah, Kate did send a letter. I don't know if you got copied on that, Jay, where she had gotten like 4 complaints, not from like nearest area, and she gave it to Jesus. Did you see that one? I
did.
Okay. So, well, yeah, this is not the first time multiple lights in this neighborhood have been out for an extended period of time. And I'm obviously really worried, you know, Franklin Park South is not so bad because you have parks lights from the park. But when you get over to Oak Street, where you have apartments, I mean, it
And
gets
it's
really
small.
scary and dicey over there.
Yeah, the streets are narrower.
Thank
But
you.
it, I mean,
Thank
it
you.
is dark,
Yeah.
frankly. If you go out at night, it is dark on those streets and for big stretches. So,
And it doesn't help that the alleys are also losing light too, and that just feels not safe.
Right. Right. Okay, anything else on those topics?
Yeah, the last thing I was gonna say, just because we didn't have emails for everyone who's, you know, kind of active in the association, but Carol and I are hosting a cold cuts and cookies at our place on Sunday from 1 to 4. We do this we're redoing it. COVID got in the way of doing this on Christmas Eve. It was started when Carol had gotten divorced and they were trading children on Christmas Eve. So she would do something and then hand them off or get them back. But so the notion is people bring cookies, we provide cold cuts and drinks and all. So some of you, I think, got an invitation, some of you may not, but I just wanted to say it's an open house if you want to come to our place, 1563 Franklin Park South, between 1 and 4 on Christmas Eve on Sunday.
And how many cookies are we supposed to bring?
Whatever you feel like.
And will we have to wear boots, Bill?
No.
Will the city fix the water by then?
No, you just have to take a long step over, but it's, you know.
Okay.
All right. Thanks,
Any
Bill.
other announcements, items of interest? Okay, I had asked for some kind of game, and I see that we didn't get one. I didn't hear anything about a game, and I was really hoping for something that was a little fun. But what I'd like to do is, if we could take 10 minutes, that's okay. Don't come up, don't show your face now. If we could just go down the list, and we really are appreciative of the support that people have shown throughout the year for the association. I want to use my list, and if we could just go down, and could you just give a shout out either for what was good for you in 23 or what you're looking forward to 24? I mean, just, unmute, say what you got to say, and then I'll go on to the next one, okay? But everybody get ready, because I'm calling on everybody. You right? Okay, and I'm gonna start, of course, with our OTENA liaison, Lynn Stan.
Hello. I am just so excited for all this energy in 2024 and getting back to some more outdoor types of activities in the community, and the Near East Side really working together, because I think it's there's been some great actions, and I'm excited to see keep going forward.
Good, thank you. Richard Harris.
Well, I am grateful and thankful for, first of all, that we're going to have a 50th anniversary, because the time I'm spending doing research is been immensely and educational development for me, things I didn't know. And I think you hit it on the head. We need to take it to our area schools, because there's so much rich stuff going on that, and I know we can't do it all. So I am grateful for that. I am grateful for the gardens that we have in our community. And Lord, I'm on a hiatus right now because I'm tired. But I am also very grateful for everything else.
And can we have your better half? Because I know she's sitting right there.
She's here, however, she's suffering from a bad case of brain fog. She'll speak more in 2024 when she hopefully recovers.
Oh, that was so clearly enunciated. I know she has more to say.
No, she does not. Happy holidays, everybody. I love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Carol Hector Harris.
Well, I'm with Richard. Every time I hear Will start talking about the history in our neighborhood and the stuff that's going to go on the timeline. I just get so excited about learning new stuff I had no idea about. I couldn't believe the picture that that we got about the piano factory where Kroger's now sits. I had no idea that that was there. So I can't wait to join Kirsten and other folk to go down to the library and see what pictures are there and just learn more. I mean, we've been living here since 1980 and I thought I knew stuff, but there's so much more stuff to learn. And my grandkids don't know it, but they getting ready to know a whole lot about
No,
this.
they can't eat until they say something.
Yeah, they can't. And they can't run over into the park and have a good time until they can tell me something that they learned.
There you go.
That's what I'm grateful for.
Thank you. Eric Hutchison.
Okay, I'm thankful for the continued progression in transparency from NEAC and the civics and NEAC working together and aligned in representing the neighbors and on the Near East Side.
Good, thank you. Brian Curtis.
Let's make this the best year ever. I'm grateful for that.
Great. Fred Woods.
I'm grateful to be part of the 50th anniversary. I'm going to be in this neighborhood for the last 25 years, and I'm looking forward to be a participant in all the activities.
Okay. Frank Eubanks. Frank?
He's still on mute.
Okay.
He's probably said something.
All right, come on. Sylvia Mitchell. I know you're on iPhone there. Sylvia?
Yeah, sorry, I had to get off the
I hear you.
mute.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm grateful, just thankful to be a part from Love Zion, representing the church in the community. So I'm really looking forward to the 50th anniversary and working on some activities and things. So I'm really excited, thankful to be able to be a part and looking forward to learning a lot. And hopefully you guys can help me learn and know what to do with the Civic Association. And also, there was one other person on, but she got off, that I had to come as well, that she's in our outreach at the church. So we're working on an activity together of looking for the faith places in the community. So I have a couple of people working with me to do that. So we're excited.
Good, thank you. Okay, Frank, you're unmuted now.
Yeah, I moved in the neighborhood on November 21st, 1959, and I carried a newspaper routes in the neighborhood also from Franklin Park South all the way to Main Street and east all the way to Haltzman, from Fairwood to Haltzman. And pictures I had were taken from me when I was evicted in 2017. I had a whole lot of pictures, probably over 1,000 pictures taken in the neighborhood of how the neighborhood had changed. And I had cameras, uses of cameras dating all the way back before my mother had cameras, put it that way, and I used to use her camera. I don't know. I'll probably visit. I think it's at Albert Copeland, was where they first had meetings at. There used to be something called Model Cities that Robert Short was the president of, right. And that Louis Jones had a meeting at where I lived at on Fairwood Avenue back in 1972. That was a forerunner of a group that became Franklin Park, what's now Franklin Park Civic Association. I guess that's all I have to say.
Beautiful,
Thank you.
Frank.
Appreciate
Beautiful.
that. Kirsten and Jay.
I'll go first. I know that all of the research we're doing has unearthed a lot of really cool information, but it is genuinely just so interesting to learn more about this neighborhood from the people who have lived here way, way, way longer than me. And that's not saying a whole lot because I've only been here for 3.5 years. So that was not to throw anybody under the bus. It's been a wonderful experience getting to learn a lot of this information. And obviously we're all unearthing it together. And like Carol, I'm really excited to go to the library and just start digging through some of these pictures and really getting to understand a little better what the neighborhood looked like previously and what it's turned into, et cetera. But just thank you. It's been a really cool experience, and I'm looking forward to continuing that next year. And so, yeah, that's genuinely what I'm thankful for.
Great. Now to your better half.
So I have lived in the greater Columbus area for the majority of my life. And in all of that time, frankly, this is the only place I have lived that I have ever given a shit about the community. So it's been pretty awesome to live here and get involved and take pride in the community, and really, you know, want the best for the community, the people that live here, you know, the area in general. And being here at this time as we're looking back on the history, but obviously there's a lot of new people moving in. There's a lot of new buildings going up. It's a really cool time to be kind of split between those two worlds. So hopefully we're going to all be good stewards moving into the future.
There we go. Thank you. Logan.
Hi. I'll go. What I'm thankful for, I've got a 9-month-old baby, so thankful to have her in this world safe and sound, and excited to you know, be on the NEAC and get to know the folks there and figure out how else I can help my community.
Good. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. Miriam. She's thankful for any chance to dance.
Yeah, I have to show you my ugly sweater though, everybody.
Oh yes, the only ugly sweater we had tonight. Wow.
There's a little ornament and a tree and a elephant.
Nice.
Marshall's, $25. I am really thankful.
Brian, that's a very sorry, Miriam. Brian, that's a very on point ugly sweater for you. I just needed to say that. Continue.
Yeah, OSU and Michigan. He's having an internal conflict there. I love seeing the progression of the FPCA over the time that I've been volunteering. I feel like when I first joined, it was a little bit, we weren't really sure some of the direction. It was being taken over from a former president who unfortunately passed away, and it's just really been a really beautiful experience seeing how everyone gels and supports one another, and how we work really hard to grow and share the information that we've learned about our community, and also to protect it, you know, and savor it and keep it so that it belongs to in line with the history. And I'm really excited. I've been a little personally distracted by a lot of stuff, but I'm really excited about digging into this 50th anniversary stuff and going to the library and just learning more about this community, because the more I learn about it, the more I just fall in love with it more and more every time. There's so many great people and so much history. Like, there is so much history here. So I'm really grateful that I'm a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. William Hayes, otherwise known as Bill.
Let's see. There's a lot to be thankful for. Starting with tonight is Carol's last night on school board, so I get her back. So she'll still be very active in the schools. You know, she's not having to do on the board. And then we got the levy passed so that we hope, really invest in the schools and they do it right. And she's gonna keep, even though she's not on the board, she'll work on that. But I'm grateful that my youngest, who struggled after her mom died, just finished her first semester at Ohio State. you know, and is on her way to get a social work degree so she can help kids who suffered like she did. And she got me to Africa because she went there for 12 weeks this spring. And so we went out and visited her for 2 weeks where she was volunteering. So that was a great trip. And we're happy to be going to the Galapagos at the beginning of February. So I'm looking to go there. Very grateful that I think Ohio State is starting to be a better neighbor. And, you know, in that, you know, we start doing it even better with the Healthy Community Center and other things that are going on, and that I get to try to help spur us from that side. So I hope we'll have fallbacks, I know, but that we continue to be better in this whole world and working about how we can be a good neighbor, you know, for the area. So those are among the things.
Good, thank you. Brian. Brian, you were on, now where are you?
Yep.
Can we have a little bit more?
On what?
Okay, no, it's good. I'll go to William. Will.
So, first want to echo everything everybody said, but in addition to that, in my particular case, I'm very glad to have a healthy household. As I look around at friends, acquaintances I've made over the years, not all of them have made it this far. Okay, so I'm grateful for the opportunity to continue on myself. Grateful to have our daughter home with us. She was living away since high school, and she's getting adjusted to being in Columbus, and hopefully she'll find something she enjoys doing here, and that works out for her. And I'm also grateful that, you know, that I'm one of these people that I maybe worked for 15 different places in my work career, and all of them, you know, pretty great learning experiences, but I'm really glad to have the opportunity to apply a lot of the different things I learned along the way in helping this neighborhood move forward as it obviously wants to do, and to see the success of that by how many new faces we have lending their hands to the oars that need to be roared.
Great, thank you. Now I see Diane's iPad. Who would that be?
Diane on. There's
It's
Diane.
me. Yeah, I'm Diane. I live on Oak Street, and I've lived here over 30 some years. And actually, we moved here from Cleveland, and my husband's grandparents, the Paytons, were living here on Oak Street when we moved in, and we ended up buying the house down the street. So I've been around this neighborhood a lot. I was very active in the association for years. I'm grateful to see that it's thriving again and that people were doing things, because I really had lost communication and hadn't heard anything about it for a long time. I'm hoping that possibly you could get some flyers or information out, because I have neighbors who have been here as long as me, and I don't think they're even aware that the association is really doing things again. And I think, you know, you're doing great things, but more people who have been here for years need to know again that it's up and moving. Because we kind of feel like we get isolated with all the changes and all the things that are going on, and we don't really know what's going on. So I applaud you all for keeping it going, and Listening tonight, you're doing a lot of positive things, so keep it up.
Thank you, Diane. But we will only keep it up with you, okay? So we want to definitely stay in touch. Make sure we get your contact details and follow up and not wait for another meeting to have some discussion. All right? Is there anyone that I missed? Has everyone on the call had a chance to speak?
We are missing you, Miss Walker.
Well, I was trying to wait till everybody else had a turn. I didn't want us to be jumping in front of people and carrying on, but if everybody has spoken, then I guess it's time for me to have my say. Eric will laugh at the Hayes-Henderson house meeting. I opened and closed with an African proverb, and my proverbs can be, out in left field, but tonight, I think I'll use one that is a bit more that you can relate to. And that is a saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. And I think FPCA is about going far. And I think part of that is also understanding not just who we've worked with in the past, but listening to each other tonight, also thinking about who else we can work with or things that we didn't know about each other that we can hook up with, et cetera, et cetera. We are a team. And I think the only way we've been able to do what we've done so far, let alone do what we're talking about doing, is continuing to operate as a team. And I really, really appreciate you, especially considering that this is my last December meeting as chair. You have been warned.
So you're just skipping all December meetings?
Am I skipping all December meetings?
Because you'll be chair up through November, then you just don't come in December? Because
listen, you watch this space. Watch this space. You all keep right on playing. I'll be a part of the team, but in a different role, different function. So I'm telling you, be warned. Okay. But no, it's been
You're
exciting.
laughing.
Huh?
I'm glad you're laughing.
Anyway, it's I made the mistake the other day. I was in a climate change meeting and people did something like this and wanted to know what were you thankful for. And I said, oh, that there was no snow. I was like, oh, this was the wrong meeting to say that. Particularly as a grower, because the temperate climate is important to have the snow so that the insects and the plants can go to sleep and then come back. But I am truly thankful that there is no snow. Even with this 30 degrees and 20-degree wind chill, I can come in out of it, but the snow just depresses me. So I'm also thankful for snow. All right. So thanks very much for being with us this evening. And I look forward to seeing people at different, ways, over the holiday. And look forward to seeing you in January 23rd. I noticed that our secretary said it will be over Zoom. So we'll start off the year on Zoom. But also let's look at bringing in a new member. Each one bring one. So as Diane said, there are a lot of people who don't know well, let's find the folks over the next couple of weeks who don't know that we're active and bring them in for our January meeting. Okay, Ernestine was on earlier. I wanted to hear from her. She's gone. Ernestine has just been a tremendous support, different activities over the year. We look forward to
Yeah, she was from our church. She was from Love Zion.
Okay, so that was okay. There was another Ernestine that we've worked with. Okay, fine. So then that's fine. So we look forward again to just strengthening the relationship with Love Zion, because this is new and that's a wonderful connect as well. Okay. All right. So is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a good one. Stay safe.
Happy holidays.
I'll see you at Bill's cookie and whatever that was party, right?
Cold cut.
Cookies and cold cuts.
Yeah.
Cookies and cold cuts. That's right.
All right, y'all.
Wonderful. Right.
Bye.
with vegan cheese,
All right,
right?
bye-bye.
Peace out.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
We'll make
holidays.
sure
Thank
there's
you.
something
Merry
vegan.
Christmas.
All right. Bye-bye.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Yes.
Happy Kwanzaa.
That too. Yep.
Yeah. Happy Kwanzaa. Peace out.